Good morning, everyone. Hope y'all are having a great day. Can't see my face with the hat on. Oh, it is Saturday. Another day. It's not been a good week for me, but I'm here. I'm sober. And if you're new here, welcome. This is a AA meeting. Please, no judgment, no harassment. Be kind to each other. And listen to me read the steps. And the big book is the book we are in. I have a 4th edition. So if you have a different edition, yours may be on a different page. I do put in the description the story and the page number we are on, as well as what book. So today we are on Flooded with Feeling on page 369. And let's get into the meeting. I'm Sandra. I'm an alcoholic. Let's say the Serenity Prayer. Hello, Nate. Hello, Lucky. I guess I could just call you James. Lily, thank you for being here and letting me know you can hear me and see me. Because I'd probably go on talking to myself like, oh, well. Tell the pups I say hi, Nate, and tell Paula as well. Getting super, super excited because you guys are getting married soon. And congratulations again. I can't tell you guys enough how happy I am that you guys are getting married. It's so exciting. Anyways, enough with that. Let's do our Serenity Prayer and get on with the meeting. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. So if you don't know, we do 12 steps and 12 traditions. It is in the front of the book in the contents. There are the traditions as well right after the steps. And don't worry, I will do the steps right now. I know them pretty much by heart. Sometimes I have to look at them to make sure I'm saying it right because I get ahead of myself sometimes. So, 1, we admitted we were powerless over alcohol, that our lives had become unmanageable. 2, came to believe that a power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity. 3, made a decision to turn our will and our lives over the care of God as we understood Him. 4, made a searching and fearless moral inventory of ourselves. 5, admitted to God, to ourselves, and to another human being the exact nature of our wrongs. 6, we're entirely ready to have God remove all these defective characters. 7. Humbly ask Him to remove our shortcomings. 8. Made a list of all persons we had harmed and become willing to make amends to them all. 9. Made direct amends wherever possible. 9. Made direct amends to such people wherever possible, except when to do so would injure them or others. 10. Continue to take personal inventory and when wrong, promptly admit it. 11. Sought through prayer and meditation to improve our conscious contact with God as we understood Him, praying only for knowledge of His will for us and the power to carry that out. 12. Having had a spiritual awakening as a result of these steps, we tried to carry this message to the alcoholics and to practice these principles in all our affairs. Now we're going to go into the big book, and I, of course, have my highlighted spots in this one as well as most of the other ones. And when I get to the highlighted spot, I will explain that at the end of my reading this story. Flooded with feeling. When a barrier to God collapsed, this self-described agnostic was at step 3. When I first came to AA, I thought everyone had drunk more than I had, that everybody had gotten into more trouble. But I kept coming to meetings, and after a while I began to hear the beginnings of their stories. I came to realize that I was on the same road, I just hadn't gone as far yet. I had my first drink in my senior year of high school. That first night I slipped out of the window so my parents wouldn't hear me leave. There were 4 of us and we only brought 4 bottles of home brew. I never made that mistake again. The next week a bunch of us went camping and we brought cases of beer. We finished it all. The others drank a lot too. But I was the one who woke up in the middle of the night and started wandering around the countryside by the light of the moon. I was the one who walked for miles searching for something. I know now what I was looking for. Unlike the rest of them, I wanted another drink. I had a great time that summer between high school and college. It revolved around drinking, and football, drinking and hunting, drinking and playing pool, drinking and driving. Nothing really bad happened, but it could have. I nearly got arrested. A friend just missed being shot. The car I was riding in stopped just before it crashed. I don't think most moderate social drinkers remember so clearly the night they had their first drink. I'm sure that very few of them make that date into an annual celebration by getting as drunk as possible. It was in my second year of drinking that I started saying that if you can still feel your face, you're not drunk enough. In my third year, I drank homemade peach wine, and when it was gone, I had some whiskey. That night, I vomited in the blackout. Sorry. Soon, I found that I didn't get as sick on vodka. Drinking vodka was like something out of science fiction. I could be someplace one moment and instantly transported to somewhere else the next. I could never seem to find that happy balance. I remember going to a party. I started drinking and suddenly I could talk to anybody. I was having a lot of fun, but I kept on drinking. Soon I could barely walk. A friend drove me home that night. but I sometimes drove a car when I was too drunk to walk. I became a teacher and didn't drink too often for a while. When I did drink, I almost always got drunk. The teachers would get together a couple times a year for a poker party. I usually didn't drink anything. One time I did, and I made a fool of myself. I decided that drinking just wasn't fun anymore. I quit. My cure for drinking was isolation. I would get up, go to work, come home, watch TV, and go to bed. It got to the point where I couldn't remember anything good that had ever happened. I couldn't imagine anything good ever happening in the future. Life had shrunk down to an endless awful now. The depression became so bad that only medical treatment kept me from killing myself. After 7 months, the doctor took me off the medication. I wasn't sur- yeah, but I wasn't very happy either. A new teacher came to my school and I invited myself over to her place for a drink. I remember telling her as I lifted the glass that this might not be such a great idea, but I believed it's worth the risk. As casually as that, I began drinking again. At the winter break, she went to visit her boyfriend. I was alone again. 2 days before Christmas, I went to a party I wasn't going to drink because I had driven there and I knew that drinking and driving was a bad idea for me. I wasn't feeling particularly good or bad, just a little uncomfortable because I didn't know most of the minute and up drinking a glass of wine the next. There was no conscious premeditation at all. This is the point where when many people say, and I went on drinking for 10 years, 10 more years. Instead, an odd thing happened. A few days later, a teacher came up to me at work and said that she was an alcoholic and that she was going to AA. She had never seen me drink, so I don't know what made her do that. The next day, I asked her how often she went to meetings. Once a week. I asked. No, she said that she had been going nearly every day for almost 6 months. That seemed a little extreme, but I thought that maybe if I went to a meeting with her, it might help her out. Besides, I was alone, or I was lonely. Halfway through the meeting, I had the strangest idea. People were introducing themselves as alcoholics, and I had the urge to do the same. This was peculiar because I wasn't, of course. Later, my friend asked me what I thought of the meeting. I said that I didn't really know. It was only much later I realized that for the first time in years, I felt that I belonged. The next day, we went to another meeting, and this time I did say I was an alcoholic. I went to the third meeting by myself. I was nervous. I felt as if I were about to jump out of my skin. I did something that was amazing to me. Before the meeting, I stuck out my hand and introduced myself as a newcomer. I had someone to talk to. I calmed down. From time to time, I would tell the truth. I said in a meeting that I was afraid to get a sponsor because I was afraid he might ask me to do something. I left that meeting with a phone number. I called it, and sure enough, My new sponsor started leading me through the steps using the big book. I called him every day. I told him that I just didn't want to be an alcoholic. He said it didn't matter what I wanted. The question I had to answer for myself was whether I was or what I wasn't. He even suggested that I could try a little controlled drinking if I wasn't sure. I knew I had never been able to do that. I didn't have to do any more research. All I really had to do was review the drinking I had already done. I remember telling a friend years ago that I didn't have a drinking problem. I had a stopping problem. We laughed. It was true, but there was something else going on, something that never occurred to me until I came to AA. I didn't just have a stopping problem, I had a starting problem too. No matter how often I stopped or for how long, I always started drinking again. After not drinking for 3 months, I was on the phone with a friend who had taken me to that first meeting. I was complaining to her about problems at work and how my sponsor didn't understand me. Later in the conversation, I mentioned that even when I described myself as agnostic, I thought maybe something was watching out for me. She asked, "Isn't it about time you made a decision?" I knew where to look in the big book, and I had been careful to avoid it until then. I turned to the third step prayer and quietly read it to her over the phone. Nothing happened. I didn't expect anything to happen. Then, for some reason, I turned back to words. No one among us has been able to maintain anything like perfect adherence to these principles. They echoed in my mind. Something happened, a barrier collapsed without emotion, yet at the same time I was completely aware of myself and my surroundings. I could hear my friend's voice asking what had happened to me. I couldn't answer. I still can't explain it. I know that I took the third step, turning my will and my life over to a higher power that night because I began writing a fourth step inventory the next day. And I continued to write until I did the fifth step with my sponsor. So I had a list of people I had harmed. I talked about each of the amends with my sponsor. By the time I had started setting things right with my family, I began to feel a lot better. More than 11 years later, it's hard to recapture the feelings of that night. What do I believe as a result? I can say that doubting God's existence was no barrier at all to a spiritual or experience. Also, I can say that having such an experience didn't lead me to any certainty about God. Alcoholics Anonymous gives me the freedom to believe and to doubt as much as I need to. I do know that my life is different now. I haven't had a drink since I came to AA. I have fewer resentments and I don't spend much time thinking about the past. I found that my experience can be of help to other people. I have come to believe that hard times are not just meaningless surroundings and that something good might turn up at any moment. That's a big change for someone who used to come to in the morning feeling sentenced to another day of life. When I wake up today, there are lots of possibilities. I can hardly wait to see what's going to happen next. I keep coming back because it works. So I'm going to go back to the first thing I highlighted. Um, and I highlight because I like to be able to see where I was at that point. And so I've had this book for about 4 years now, almost 5 years. And so on the first highlight, it said, I started drinking and suddenly could talk to anybody. I was having a lot of fun, but I kept on drinking. For me, that is exactly what it did for me. I took my first drink as a child, but I blocked out a lot of my childhood. But when I was 16, I did this. I drank and I loved it. I could talk to anyone, I could do anything, and nothing could stop me. And I kept drinking. But at that time, I was like not a daily drinker. My eyes bugging me, allergies. But at that time, I wasn't a daily drinker. And then I got pregnant with my oldest son. And so I didn't drink for a very long time. And then I got pregnant with my youngest son, and I didn't drink for a very long time. And no, not just the 9 months. I didn't drink between the kids or any. Well, yes, I did. I can't say I didn't. I drank when I met my husband. Well, when we first started dating, I drank and looked like an idiot. But anyways, and we had our youngest son. So then the next thing I highlighted was I was sitting on the couch 1 minute and had a drinking er, and up drinking a glass of wine the next. There was no conscious uh, pre premeditation at all. Yeah, it was exactly like that when I started the actual full on drinking. It was like it was nothing, but I wasn't still a daily drinker, but I did like to drink, so I'd go to the bars and stuff with friends when I turned 21, and then I we'd go out every other weekend or something. But it was still not a daily thing. Then I remember telling a friend years ago that I didn't have a drinking problem. I had a stopping problem. I didn't say that. What I said for a long time was, I'm not an alcoholic. I'm not going to be an alcoholic ever in my life. I started saying that as a teenager, and I said that all the way up until I became the alcoholic myself. Okay. So I didn't count, the drinking here and there as a problem because I would only have like two or three, two or three drinks, but they were really strong drinks. So then I really didn't count that I was an alcoholic because I was still able to not drink at that time. Yeah, just wait until a little while later. Then I became the alcoholic. It says, I know that I took the third step, turning my will and my life over to a higher power that night because I began writing a fourth step inventory the next day, and I continued to write until I did the fifth step with my sponsor. I did do my third step, um, or yeah, I did my third step, Then I started my fourth step. It took me a long time to do my fourth step because there were things that really hurt me, um, due to a family member. But I did do my third step, and I started writing my inventory. And it took me a couple months to do my inventory, and I really had to do that sitting by myself somewhere, just me, writing things down. And then I did do my making my amends with the things that my sponsor pointed out that I needed to make amends for, because some of it wasn't things that I was at fault for. So I did my fourth step, my third step, my fourth step. It didn't come easy for me to do the fourth step. I really procrastinated on that one, and it was it was you know most of it was that stuff. And then looking now to who I am now, I've had a rotten week, you guys, a really rotten week. I've cried every day this week, and it's not very often that I do that, but things are just not going great for me, and so I I try to have my outlet, but then I do try to keep it to myself. And with me being able to talk to people about how and what's been going on, it's helped me to realize, it's not all bad. There's ways to fix it. And like, um, just a minute. So this week I've been thinking about my dog that I had to send to heaven last year. Um, what else? Just wanting to not work. My body hurts because of my arthritis. And so I've been doing a lot of crying about that. A lot of crying because all kinds of things have happened this week. I quit my job, and I have no medical insurance. And no, it's not because I quit my job. It is because apparently I make too much money. And no, that's not why I quit my job. I quit my job because my body is like, no, you can't keep doing that. And I'm not going to force myself to be unhappy in an endless job that I can barely do anyways. And I'm not going to kill myself over a job. No way. And so it's been hard for me to not be mad about my state canceling my insurance because I made $90 on a check. Um, they're trying to think that I got paid about that much every week. Well, I wasn't working that much every week. And so it's just a big old mess, and I get aggravated. Now, I have learned to not go and grab a drink as soon as I get irritated. That is who I used to be. Any reason I could come up with to drink, I would. And sometimes I didn't have to come up with anything. Sometimes I would just be drinking just because. And when I got into my major drinking, I didn't care anyway. I just went to sleep, well, fake sleep, because when you're drinking, you pass out and it's not actually sleeping. Um, and so I did that for quite a while. I'd get up in the morning and be down at the store to get my first beer at 7 o'clock a.m. as soon as it was able to be sold. And if I didn't have money for a beer, I would go and ask my neighbor. Yeah, that was me. I admit it, that was me. Was is the key thing. Not anymore. I'm just the sober me, the real person I am. Nothing fake about it. And, the reason I share my story here is because I don't have to keep it in. I got this gift that I was given for free, and my plan is to share it. And I'm not ashamed to say I'm a recovering alcoholic because that's who I am. That is who I am. That's who I'm going to be for the rest of my life. Um, I've just been lucky to find AA and be able to share on my platforms, on my channel on YouTube, on my Facebook, to share my experience as being an alcoholic and being the sober alcoholic, and what it's been like for me to be sober and to be who I am and to not have to have that drink to go and say hello to someone. I have made so many friends since I have been sober. I don't talk to everybody all the time. I do have those few people that I do talk to every single day, and that's mainly my twin sister, my cousin, and my husband. They know my struggles of my day, my feelings of every single day. They're who I trust with my life. And I do have this platform of YouTube and Facebook who allow me to be me. I have a community that knows that there's nothing fake here. Everything I say comes from my heart, and I'm lucky enough to be a part of a great community and a very understanding community that don't put each other down and are here to lift you up and let you know that you're not alone and don't give up. Just don't give up. One of my dear, dear friends called me last night. Was not expecting it. She's my YouTube friend. She knows who she is. And she said, "Are you okay? It's been a rough week." I wasn't okay. But when she called me, and it's not the first time she's called me, and she always calls me video call, and she says, "Don't give up. Don't give in. Keep going. You got it. It'll pass. It will pass." And I know it will. And I love you for calling me and saying that, because it makes me know that there are people there to be there to say, "Hey, it's okay to feel that way, but we don't want to keep it that way. So let's turn it around and have positive feelings and better vibes, and you know, things are going to be okay." And I know things are going to be okay. It's just the rotten week. It will be over with soon. But what can I say? It's It's true life. You you pick what you do, and I chose Alcoholics Anonymous to help me get through and learn my steps and learn how to say, okay, this is who I was and this is who I am now, and I don't want to be that. So I always remember that person I was because I don't want to be that person. I want to be me as I am now. Truthful, honest, caring person that wants to be helpful to others and become sober and stay sober. I just got my 9 year and 1 month. The 15th will be 1 month, 9 years and 1 month. And I'm proud of that, and I don't ever plan to give up. I'm looking forward to number 10. And that's my New Year's resolution, to stay sober. That is my every year solution, a resolution is to stay sober. And I don't count the days, I don't count the months until I get really close to it. And then I start saying, okay, here we go. We're coming up. And I used to say all the time, I used to be like, hopefully I make it. Hopefully I make it. Not, I'm going to make it. Or saying, it's going to happen. I am forever grateful for everyone that is in my life. I am grateful for everything that I have. It may not be much. I am forever grateful for having my platform to share on. I'm grateful for every single person that comes to these meetings or subscribe to my channel or whatever just comes and supports who I am and what I am doing. It means so much to have what I have and the things that I have experienced sober. And you can have it too. You just have to want it for the right reason. And the right reason is for yourself. You have to be for yourself, not anybody else. And I will never stress that enough because I quit drinking for a year and I had other reasons other than myself. And now I choose for myself. And that helps to stay sober. And we only have one day at a time. We cannot say, oh, we won't. We can say we will try our best to stay sober for the next day. And we have today. So, anyways, it's a bit short of a meeting today. The story wasn't very long. Um, I'm sure I'm just rambling on and on and on. But I just want you to know that we can do it. And like my dear friend says, we can do hard things. And alcohol is a hard one to give up. But we can do it. We all can. If we want it for the right reason. Anyways, you guys, I'm going to say the Serenity Prayer over here on Facebook. And then I'm going to come over to the YouTube side and read the 12 steps or the daily reflections, I mean. And then Facebook, I will post the daily reflections on my wall. And please read it. Usually it's something that relates. Well, for me lately, it's been something that relates to something that we just read. So we'll see what today says. Um, I love you guys over here on Facebook. I love you guys on YouTube. I'll be right back with YouTube. Let's say the Serenity Prayer with Facebook. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Keep coming back. It works if you work it. Love you, Facebook. Okay, let's get out of Facebook and go over here to the traditions, or sorry, daily reflections, December 9th. Love with no price tag. When the 12th step is seen in its full implication, it is really talking about the kind of love that has no price tag on it. 12 Steps and 12 Traditions, page 106. In order for me to start working the 12th step, I had to work on serenity or sincerity and honesty, and then to act with humility. Carrying the message is a gift of myself. No matter how many years of sobriety I may have accumulated, my dreams can become reality. So I solidify my sobriety by sharing what I have received freely. As I look back to that time when I began my recovery, there was already a seed of hope that I could help another drunk pull himself out of his alcoholic mire. My wish to help another drunk is the key to my spiritual health, but I never forget that God acts through me. I am only his instrument. Even if the other person is not ready, there is success because my effort in his behalf has helped me. I remain sober, and to become stronger to act to never grow weary in my 12 step work is the key. If I am compatible of or not compatible, if I am capable of laughing today, let me not forget those days when I cried. God reminds me that I can feel compassion. And that's today's reflections. And with that, I hope you guys have a wonderful Saturday and Sunday or whatever day it is where you are at. Um, just know that you're not alone. And I will be live again on Tuesday morning at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, um, United States, that is, also, because I know I have people that watch from all over. Um, so please like, share, subscribe, and comment if you would like. I also do adventure videos. Um, so I will see you guys on the next one. Love you. Bye. It's not wanting me to end it.